Okay, guys, how's it going? This is going to be your last video lecture from me for your Serve Safe material, and we are going to go over Chapter 10 from your textbook, Cleaning and Sanitizing. So first I want to say great job on your exams, and one of the main comments that you guys made were that you wanted some review for your Serve Safe material. So we are going to have a review next week. That's going to go over all of the material that you've learned to date. So your final exam is on December 7th, which is kind of a ways away. But we have provided you guys with some material to prepare for that exam, which includes two reviews, one for chapters 1 through 4 and another for chapters 5 through 9. And although the chapters don't exactly line up because we have different versions, all of the material is still the same. So there's two reviews for you under the content section in T2L, and then there's also two practice exams. And so we highly recommend that you guys do both the reviews and the practice exams. In my opinion, with these types of exams that you guys are going to take on the 7th of December, practice exams are the best way to prepare because you're going to get an idea of what the questions are worded like and also how much material you need to know without notes. So again, that's going to be the best way to prepare, and next week we'll go over a lot of the content. And then here is the updated schedule for you guys, and you'll see that on November 30th we'll do a Serve Safe review for you guys in preparation for the final exam on December 7th. So we will have another review because there is such a big chunk of time that goes by between when you finish reading your chapters and when you have to take the exam. So we will have some follow-up review. But next week we'll have an activity for you guys to do. Okay, so now we're going to go over Chapter 10, which is all about cleaning and sanitizing in the restaurant. So for cleaning, pretty simple. Restaurants use different types of cleaning products than you will at home, and you're going to have state and local regulatory authorities that determine what is the proper type of solutions for you to use. And so in a restaurant, you want to make sure that you check that your cleaning products are approved. So then for sanitizing, there's two ways to sanitize, either with heat or through chemical sanitizing. Some important temperatures to remember will be if you are using hot water, then that temperature has to be 171 degrees Fahrenheit, and the dish has to be in that hot water for at least 30 seconds to kill germs. And then for chemical sanitizing, there's three common types that you'll have: chlorine, iodine, and then quaternary ammonium compounds, which is also called quat solution. And then they talk about different criteria for sanitizer effectiveness. So making sure that your concentration is right, because you're usually going to create a sanitizing solution of both the sanitizing material and then water. And so at the top image is a picture of a test strip so that you can measure your concentration and make sure that it's correct. And so it'll measure in parts per million. Then your temperature has to be correct, so too hot or too cold can affect how well the sanitizing solution works. Again, remembering that anything you're sanitizing has to be in the solution for at least 30 seconds. And then your water hardness and your pH level will also affect how well the sanitizing solution works, and so you When you open your restaurant, you can check both of those, both your water hardness and your pH level. And then that bottom image is an example of what Quat Sanitizer looks like. Okay, so now that we know our sanitizing options, either through hot water or through a chemical solution, they talk about the 5 steps that you always take when cleaning and sanitizing, which are pretty self-explanatory. A couple of things that I think are important to note would be, one, that they say always allow your dishes to air dry. Never use a towel, because that can just be cause for some type of contamination. And then also, if you let's say you're working and prepping, they give you a time limit where if you have a certain dish that you're using, you can only use it for up to 4 hours, and then you have to trade it in for a fresh one or clean and sanitize it before going back to whatever job you're working on. Although I, doubt there's a lot of situations in a restaurant that would take 4 hours. But if perhaps you're making some type of sauce that has to marinate, and you have like a stirring utensil, then that might be a situation where you have to trade in that stirring utensil for one that is fresh and clean. So then they talk about the different types of dishwashers. So you obviously have just manual dishwashing, and they go into more detail about those different steps on page 10.9. But then you have 2 different types of dishwashing machines. One that uses hot water, and they have temperatures here again that your machine has to get to in order to kill all of the germs. So 180 degrees Fahrenheit for your final sanitizing rinse. Or if you have a type of dishwasher that's a stationary single temperature machine, then it has to be 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And then chemical sanitizing machines don't have to get to the same temperature because they're using a chemical sanitizing solution. And the image here is an example of a low temperature chemical sanitizing dishwasher. And then it's always important to clean, maintain, and monitor your machine to make sure that it's working properly. Then they briefly talk about storage, and I noticed this first point on one of your reviews. So this is something that you are going to need to know for your exam. So storing utensils, tableware, and other equipment has to be at least 6 inches or 15 centimeters above the floor. Another 2 important points that you always have to make sure you cover in your restaurant are: you store your flatware handles side up, so that if anybody's grabbing the utensil, they're not going to be touching the part that's going to touch food or going to somebody's mouth. And then glassware stored upside down, obviously, so that it doesn't catch any particles below. And again, always air dry, never dry with a towel. So then just cleaning and sanitizing in the restaurant or other food service operation. Always make sure floors, ceilings, equipment exterior, restrooms, and walls are cleaned regularly. And then they do go into some detail about what to do if somebody gets sick. So if there's vomit or diarrhea, what to do. So making sure, 1, that you have the proper materials. 2, be prepared. So have a list of steps of what you're going to do to segregate the area, how to clean it, sanitize it, and how to properly dispose of the waste. And then making sure that all of your staff members are trained in the event that this happens. Okay, so the Occupational Safety and Health Administration has come up with requirements for using chemicals. First criteria is you only used approved materials for sanitation. And then they require that all chemical manufacturers provide a material safety data sheet. And then all of those sheets are available to restaurant employees so that they know uh, what the hazards are for every chemical that's being used in the restaurant. So that is pretty much all the information for Chapter 10. Major takeaways if you're starting a restaurant is make sure that you have a cleaning program and make sure that your cleaning program is comprehensive. And then all of your staff needs to be trained in order for that cleaning program to be effective. And then make sure you monitor your program to make sure that it's working properly. And so, again, next week, just be ready for a cumulative review activity for all of the ServSafe information we've learned about so far. And you don't have to do this for next week, but again, I highly, highly recommend that everybody complete both of the reviews and the practice exams before the final, because we really want everybody to be able to pass. And again, I think one of the best ways, if not the best way to prepare for this type of exam is to do the practice exams. And feel free, as always, to email me with any questions. And good luck on your activity for this week.